what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Serious Angler podcast, powered by our friends over at X2 Power Batteries. As always, with the captain, Mr. Andy Full, and I'm your host, Bailey Egbrett. If my audio is not as good as usual, it's because I'm on the road this week, and I do not have my microphone with me. I realized at 4:30 this morning, as I was driving to the lake on the way to where I have a media event for work this week, that I left the podcast gear back at the house. So,
Oops.
Yeah, you're rocking with the MacBook microphone. So I apologize for this week's show. I'm not sure if we're going to have 2 episodes this week. Andy and I are going to try to crank it in, but if not, worst case, you guys are stuck with just 1 episode. But we did our best to get the 1 episode because it is June for me is insane.
Same. Like it is now almost summertime, and it is ready to rock and roll and to fish. And like, to be honest, it's probably like, and I don't know if this is like a surprise to our viewers or not, but it's actually one of the hardest times of year probably for us to get guests too, because there's literally tournaments going on endlessly. Everybody's traveling, media events, because the
Graduation
parties. So like, just bear with us through the month of June, maybe even to July a little bit, just because there's a lot of volatility. I can't even talk right now. Volatility in scheduling people in to get awesome guests on. And, you know, that's how we try to make every show. So, yeah, we're going to keep chugging along here, but Bailey on the road like every week. And I don't have my next day off. We had a blow off day today as we're recording this to try and get it up for, was this our Tuesday show, I'm assuming?
Yes.
And I actually had a day off today because it's blowing like 35 miles an hour across Lake Erie. And I couldn't be any happier to have a day off because I was getting tired.
Yeah, so, when you're on that kind of bender, it wears you out.
Yeah. But I got in the boat today and I was like, okay, I'm ready to go back to fishing tomorrow. It only took like 6 hours into my day off.
Dude, you could be so whooped, but at the same point in time, like you just like, for me, it's that 15-hour day. Get home, I'm about to pass out, but I'm like connected to my GoPro, and it's like I connect to my GoPro, review some footage, and I put a clip out, and I'm like, oh, that was a sick catch from today. I'm like, oh crap, now I want to go fishing again. It's like,
yeah,
ready for the next day. But dude, it's gonna be insane here for me because this week is a pure fishing trip. I can unveil this. Because it is public information. We're not embargoing anything, and that there's a brand new lineup of Fenwick rods coming out for pure fishing that are pretty bad to the bone. So I'm excited for that. But then the week after, I have a media event for Johnson Outdoors, and then when I get back from that, it is going to be practice for the Hobie BOS on Cayuga. And then after that, I think I have a week off, and the week after that is ICAST. So it is going to be a fun next month or so.
Wait, what are the days of ICAST?
July 11th to 14th, I think.
Oh, so you should have 2 weeks off after KU, I would think.
Let's see. Let's fact check. Let's fact check my brain.
Because KU goes what, the 24th?
27th is the last weekend of this month. Let's see. Huh. So I have next week, or this whole week will be media trip. Next week after that, media trip. Next week after that is indeed Cayuga. And then I have the 26th to the 30th week off. And then 2 weeks. You're right. Yeah.
Woo!
You are indeed correct. So it's even nicer. I got 2 weeks off then.
Hey, something to look forward to.
Yeah. So, guys, it is going to be hectic the next few weeks. So if we miss a show, we apologize. Schedules are indeed crazy. But Andy, I had a fun day today. Because I had so much gear in my truck for this trip coming up, I wasn't able to bring a lot, but brought some kayaks, went to Morgan Marine here, best kayak Hobie dealership in the Northeast, and brought my kayak to go fish, but also to pick up a few more Hobies to bring to the Airbnb this week so that while we're cooking or something like that, grilling out at the Airbnb, that the media can go and take the kayak out and fish while we cook. And I only brought a few rods today, and I brought glide bait, mag draft frog and a buzzbait, and I caught him early on a buzzbait. That was fun. Like literally going up, went up.
Top water season, the best
Yeah.
season. Like I got my box right here because I was looking at it earlier. This is just my popper box and the ones I like. So this one's gonna be going in the boat very soon, and I'm itching, man. Like I want to go catch some fish on buzzbaits, top water poppers. So sorry, keep going because I want to
you're
hear
good.
the story.
You're good. It was like it was not isolated, but like an open-ish field of pads, if that makes any sense, where it's like open enough where you can throw a buzzbait and like you can just angle your rod to let it, maneuver your way through different pads. It wasn't like a field of pads where it's impossible to throw a buzzbait. And I was crushing them in there, but they weren't like, they were 2.5, maybe some 3-pounder was the biggest. They weren't firing on the mag draft. They would follow it to, like all the way to the boat. I almost figure eighted one on a mag draft. I'm determined to do that. Have you seen what I'm talking about? Like when you get to the boat and you're doing a figure eight, like
I think Polnick caught one on that at the Mississippi last year.
Figure eighting one. I almost got one to fire on the mag draft that I was figure eighting, but I quickly just changed and I was throwing that SPRO KGB Chad Shad, and one of my very first casts with it this morning, twitch, watched one rise off this boulder, twitch. There's a 4.5-pound largemouth that came up and just smoked it. I was so excited, went and boat flipped it and didn't realize I turned behind me and like 30 yards. There's a guy, 2 dudes in a bass boat just staring. And I'm like, oh, great. Like exposed. And the rest of the day, I only caught 5 fish on it, but all the bigger fish that I found, I lost 2 really good ones that were probably close to 5. That, like, it was super weird. That was the only thing I could get to get those big ones to fire. Where, like, a couple weeks ago, they were choking the mag draft, or they would eat a wacky rig. Whereas the only thing I would see these fish. So half of them I couldn't see, that I was just targeting cover, but the other ones I could see them. So I had sight fishing with the glide, and dude, it was super cool. And it was a super cool learning day from seeing that when you walk it slow, they'd be super curious. They just follow, just like, like they would with any other bigger swim bait or a bigger profile bait, because bass are curious. They would feel, super slow, but the Chad Shad being that chopping style, that I went 2 quick chops and it was like something clicked. And they're like, they like got real tight up on it, like they would like a jerk bait or something like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, light bulb, twitch really fast, twitch really fast, and then one smoked it. I'm like, I like this.
It is fun. It is fun.
That is the nice part about our fisheries, though, is like they're obviously forward-facing sonar that can help you learn. But the nice part about a lot of our fisheries, it's crystal damn clear, so you can watch it real time, like watch how those fish react. Like, dude, it is super cool to watch a certain movement you can do with the bait and see their fins go crazy. And they do that just crazy, violent, like rocket towards your bait. And it was super cool. So every time I would see a fish, I'd just do really fast twitches. And I got so many of them to follow it all the way to the boat. And they'd come up and you see them pop their mouth at it, like, but they just wouldn't get it. And it was like, I'm still trying to figure that part out, where I ripped the bait away from a few fish today, just being the novice glide bait angler that I am. But it was super cool. I had one that was like pushing 5.5 that did it, and it popped right at the boat. It followed it up and like sharked it and everything. And I'm like, oh, it's gonna be awesome, because I think I got it on GoPro. Like, you can
see the fish shark. Sorry,
yeah,
my mic
and you just all you hear in the back is me giggling like a little kid.
I love it. That's how I feel like with the mag draft bite, because I just started getting them to eat it this year, like consistently. And when they eat it, I'm like, oh! But I get excited over every fish that I catch. It could be a 1/2 pound or 7 pounds, and I think it's like a giant. So it's fun.
Though okay. So you dropped a video throwing the mag draft on the Ear Full of Fishing channel, which is really good. Like, if people haven't checked that out, highly encourage you to. The one thing that makes me laugh and I love about your sound effects is whenever you have a big bite, or like a bite that like clobbers it, It sounds like you literally got punched in the gut. Like you just it's hilarious to me, and it makes me laugh. Like I'm sitting there watching your video last night, and I'm just laughing at the TV because
I was like, "That's a giant! That's a giant!"
Yep. I'm like, and you got punched in the gut.
Yeah, I love it so much that it's the same way when I have clients that catch giants. I'm like, "Don't you lose it!" Like I get all amped up.
Hey, that's how you make it more fun, right? I mean,
Yeah.
people that are like, "Oh, look at that, another fish! Wow."
Yeah,
There's no fun in that.
Wow, I caught a big one today.
Look at that, guys! I caught another bass.
Awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, today was a cool learning day. Didn't catch a lot of fish, but I probably had close to 20 pounds.
It's a good day still for that lake that you're on. Like, if you get close to 20, you probably win. So
yeah, I mean, if I had weighed them, it probably would have been 3 brown, 2 green. That would have been the 5 fish.
Did the brownies eat the glider too?
Yes, I caught a 4.5 pound brownie on it.
Oh, yeah. It probably hit it like a freight train.
Dude, I was like, the wind was ripping at one point, so I just like let the wind take me, and I was just chucking the glide bait and just
having a time.
Just like so that like I don't know, I was playing around with cadence. And dude, there was like a small little point that came out, and there's rock on it, and I had live going at the same time, and I stood up, let the wind take me like a sail, and had live pointed up so I could see my screen, and just had it pointed forward. And I could see that there's some boulders off this point. And I go chop, 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 and all I watch this blob become skyrocketing. And I just like I've been training myself that when I see fish rising that fast, that I look away. I look at my bait because otherwise I will set the hook too early. And I'm chop, 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 and all it's like rip the rod out of my hand, and I'm just like leaning into it. It was awesome.
Oh, that is good. I just thought of a really cool T-shirt idea off of that, so I need to text it to you before I forget it. But yeah, that is fantastic,
dude. So. It was sick. And I'm still messing with the setup. I mean, like right now, I like it. It's a Fenwick Elite, is what it is. It's a 7.9 heavy fast. 7.9 heavy fast. I'm throwing that new Abu Garcia Revo SX. I mean, it's probably not the greatest reel for it, but they got the new paddles this year on the new models, and was kind of nice for the bigger the paddles and the longer handles, the more torque you have, and was nice from a chopping style. Like it just made it smooth. Mm-hmm. But I know the setup's not perfect yet. I gotta probably get. I mean, I feel like the rod's doing good, but I did rip the bait away. But I feel like that's more me than the setup. You know what I mean?
Right. But are you fluoro? Are you a braid to fluoro? Are you a mono guy with the glider?
I'm straight fluoro. I learn a lot or I study a lot, I should say, of like Milliken and people like that. I know like the tactical boys are big braid to fluoro guys or braid to mono. And I've been meaning to. Thankfully I'll have a few days with Tim and Matt here in a couple weeks where I'm going to pick their brain on it. But dude, this the whole like that heavy of a bait, big fish, that you're targeting, and that point of contact with a knot. The part kind of
scares me. Yeah,
like I'd rather just go straight fluoro. You know what I mean? Like I don't see a downside.
It's one less thing you have to worry about.
Yeah. I mean, because
or when you go to cast, and I mean, after you catch a few fish, sometimes that braid really cinches down on fluoro, and it'll break right below the braid knot, especially if you're reeling it through your guides. So just something that you have to be cognizant of, because as you're casting, the last thing you want to do is cast up $100, $200, $300, $400 glide bait, and as soon as it's water, it sinks and it's gone forever. So yeah, I agree. Straight fluoro is probably the best way to go, unless you're throwing like one that's barely subsurface or on top. Like I want to get some of those bait sanity, like explorer gills, the ones that like walk and float on top of the water. Those things look so cool. I don't know if a fish in New York would eat it or not, but I want one.
I feel like they would, man. I mean, I didn't think any of our fish would eat a 9-inch glide bait, and they did. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like me sitting here thinking like I don't even think like a 15-inch hinkle is out of the question at this
Oh,
point.
dude. I told you last year when I got out of school, smallies out on Lake Erie, they're spitting up 7-inch perch and 8-inch perch. So I mean, they're gonna eat just about anything. So
Yeah,
it's crazy.
you probably could get away with that Huddleston out there.
Yeah, I have it, and it was actually in the boat this spring, and I never got around to throwing it because I want to throw it in rock, and where I was going to throw it, the fish never got there this spring, and I was like, and I haven't been back since because I found them other areas, and they're just been eating good, and everywhere else that I've been, so I haven't gone back to look yet.
Yeah. I'm trying to control the whole swim bait thing though. Like I don't want to become one of those big bait heroes that gets so locked in that they're stubborn about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want to be able to learn it, like adapt to it, understand it, like get efficient with it, and then be able to apply it to certain scenarios.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And the only way to do that is to truly go out and throw it when you're not getting bit on anything else. So you can.
I think that bait will always play, dude. I think that's one thing I'm learning about it, and I think that I've learned from the aficionados is whether or not you catch them, that bait is always going to spark the attention of a fish.
Yeah, and it's a good practice, like a good tournament practice bait because it just shows you what lives in the area. Now, if you can get them to bite something else, more power to you. But yeah, the drawing power of a glide or a big like 8-inch swim bait is just so cool.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, even the 6-inch mag draft gets a lot of attention.
Yeah,
even from bigger fish in our area. Which, man, I gotta stop talking about the mag draft. Not that it's like not that it's like a sneaky bait because it's not. I mean, everyone and their mother knows about it. But dude, everybody in New York on the kite trail now is throwing that damn thing.
I know because they all watch your videos and they're like, "Oh, Bailey's doing it. We got to do it."
I gotta stop throwing. I gotta stop. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm kind of screwed when it comes to that.
Yeah. The funny thing about the mag draft is it's actually quite the finicky bait to like dial in and get it figured out because that thing does not like to go super fast, and then if you go too slow, it doesn't like to work either.
It's just the tail just stops.
Yeah, it just comes through the water straight, and you're like, "What is going on? Like, why?" And then
kick, damn it.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I'm not efficient in it at all, but I mean, it's fun to try new stuff and learn new things. And I'm definitely, when I have fun days, I'm going to mess around with it more to see what can happen. So
I found a good cadence because there's some people that are like, I can't reel slow, like I'm incapable of doing it. So they go down in gear ratio, but I don't mind it at all. I'm actually really bad at reeling fast. If that makes any sense. The only way I can do it is deep cranking. Other than that, I struggle at efficiently, burning a bait in, if that makes any sense at all. But like 7.4, I found like an easy, slow creep that gets the bait kicking at a good speed that doesn't blow out.
Yeah, that's right where I'm at 7.4 with my reel as well. So I just haven't decided if I like 15, 17, or 20. So far, I like 20 the best. I 17 the best, but 100% trilene. Like 17, 100% trilene is like 20 everything.
It's basically
else.
20.
Yeah. So, but that's that's the line I settled on. What I like to throw it on because when I was throwing 20-pound Invisex, it keeps breaking on me, so I'm terrified to throw it. So, yeah.
It's like a Gamma, right? I mean, Gamma's pretty thick for this line size.
20-pound Gamma would be like 25-pound everything else. So like 17-pound Gamma would probably work pretty well. Or 18, I think they have 16 and 18, which is really weird line sizes, but yeah.
Speaking of Gamma, I had some brand new Gamma break on me today. I felt bad for the fish. There was a spawning smallmouth, and I put on a brand new 10-pound Gamma to tie on a wacky rig.
Who taught you how to tie a knot?
Huh?
I said, who taught you how to tie a knot? Oh, that's it. That's really weird.
Yeah. Like, dude, I literally didn't even – I just leaned into the fish and went pop. And I'm like, what in the world?
Huh.
And thankfully, smallmouth are pretty dumb on bed because I caught them quick and I was able to remove the hook that I had broken off of.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a very smart fish.
Dude, I tell the camera a lot. It's funny. I say tell the camera. Like for my channel, like I don't, obviously, it drives me nuts to lose a fish and I hate losing fish. I hate more than anything else in the world breaking off on fish because I feel like a jerk.
Oh, same.
Somebody just knocked on my door.
Huh. You got
I'll
food
be right
coming?
back. No, I'll be right back.
So back on that, I actually have a interesting story the other day from a guide trip. Like I pride myself on not trying to target spawners. There's a lot of people who go around Buffalo and any of these Great Lake harbors or bays that we have all the way up and down Lake Erie, Ontario, and all of them have it. And people will go up and down and try to catch spawners all day long. And yesterday on my guide trip, we came on this flat that I've been catching on a small swim bait, and there's spawners everywhere. They're paired up, but my client's like dropped his bait down on the fish right underneath the boat, basically, and he sets the hook. And after like 20 fish in a row, he didn't check the line, and I didn't check the line because I was like, oh, he's a good fisherman, and both of our mistake. But he sets the hook and breaks it off like instantly because it's right underneath the boat, and I'm like, huh, all right, we tie a new one back on. He's like, I'm going to see if I can get the hook out of his mouth. He literally casts back in, hops at once, smallmouth, smokes the same exact bait one cast later after being broken off. And he gets it in, the bait is completely out of its mouth. So it already shook the bait that he broke off. And it was after he caught it, I looked down and I could see it literally like just on the outside of the fish's bed where it spit it out. So I was like, well, at least it didn't get hooked, but now there's a lead hook on the bottom of the lake. So, whoops. But, yeah. Smallmouth on beds are dumb.
It's part of fishing, unfortunately.
Yep.
So I've been getting much better at that, especially like tournament situation of constantly checking line, checking hook points, like the small things.
You have to, 100%. Like when I'm out fun fishing, I don't care. Like, if I lose them, I lose them, whatever. But when it's a tournament, and shoot, I'll tie a new leader on my rod and every 5 fish if I have to, if I feel like it's starting to get dinged, or every 2 fish, because the last thing you want to do is break a big fish off during the derby. So, yeah.
Yeah, but then there's times, dude, where it always happens where at the moment I stop caring because I'm fun fishing is the moment I lose a giant.
Yeah, and usually. Usually. And you know what they say? You fish, well, you perform how you practice. So you really should, in practice, always be ready to perform at the highest level. So you should be practicing at 100%. So come game day, you're at 125. So
maybe not mentally, like you're in a tournament, but like the fundamentals.
Yeah, exactly. Just making sure all the little things are done correctly.
I gotta answer this, Andy. So tell the folks about your recent guiding experience.
Oh, geez. We've got all kinds of fun guiding experiences recently. We have been catching just tons and tons of smallmouth bass. Some days, well, in the last week, let's see here, we've had a 40 fish day, we've had a 25 fish day, we had a 100 fish day, roughly based on averaging about 13 an hour. Me and my client thought the deep bite isn't quite there yet, but it's starting. Probably going to be out deep all day tomorrow, depending on how bad the waves are. Really looking forward to that. We've been catching them literally on whatever we want to throw. Drop shot, Ned rigs, tubes, swim baits have been huge. I actually, and this is why I love Omnia. Little Omnia plug here real fast. A client on my boat brings his own baits, and I'm like, okay, this is exciting. Not from the fact that he brought his own baits, but it's because he's confident, and I encourage people, if they hop on my boat, to bring the gear that they want to use, because when you're comfortable with your own gear, you're going to put way more fish in the boat than just grabbing whatever somebody else's gear that's very foreign to you. I don't like fishing with other people's gear because to me it feels foreign, but I know the ins and outs of everything that I have in my boat and how it performs and how it's supposed to perform. So this client gets in my boat and I don't have the baits that he's throwing yet. And I have one package in the completely wrong color. And he is just blowing the doors off a smallmouth. And I literally got on to Omnia while I was on the water, ordered like 30 baits, overnighted it, got it in 2 days, and I have 20 packages of swim baits now that I have to go put in my boat because it literally got here 2 days after I ordered it, and it's $6 express shipping, and you don't have to worry about it. So, yeah, Omnia is awesome. Everything good, Bailey?
Yeah, you're mine. What?
Everything good?
Yeah, I had to answer that call because that's one of our media coming in. But you reminded me that I have to finalize one of my Omnia orders to get some things that I need very, very badly for upcoming tournaments.
Yep.
So
I
I'm
have
literally on Omnia now.
I have
ordering.
13 things in my cart. I think recently I've been ordering like twice a week because I order a bunch of stuff and then I get my boat and they bite something else. And I'm like, crap, I got one bag of these left and I need them like tomorrow, but I should have ordered them 3 days ago. And I'm just terrible about it because I've literally been on the water every single day and I'm not taking inventory. I'm just flying through baits. And then when they start biting it again, I'm like, oh, I forgot to order that. Time to order it again. So right now I have a massive order in my Omnia that I think is at like $500 currently. And then probably got to add more stuff to it because in July, I switched to largemouth trips through August, and I'm going to be doing a lot of frogging. So I got to start stocking up on frogs for those trips. So, yeah.
Oh, boy.
I'm excited.
Ruh-roh.
Chapos
You know what I'm intrigued
and frogs. What's up?
Yeah. I am intrigued by the new VMC Redline series.
Yeah, I like the coating. I love that slick coating. And I think they're, Gamakatsu was like one of the first ones that brought it over to America, right? Like because it seems like every high-end Japanese hook has that coating on it. But I forget what it's exactly called, and now VMC is doing it as well. The thing that I have found with that coating on a lot of hooks is that those hooks get extremely brittle. So if you got to get them out with pliers, I break a lot of hooks in half trying to pry them up, but you stick every single fish for the most part. Yeah. But the second thing I found about those hooks is that the hook point will actually roll quite easily at times. So you always have to be cognizant and paying attention to it with that coating for whatever reason. Not all of them do it, but some of them do it a lot better than others.
Yeah, that's a good call.
So just pay attention. So if you are using like the Redline hooks, the Gamakatsu hooks, Ryugi, Decoy, whatever your favorite, Ichikawa's, whatever your favorite hook is with that coating on it, always be cognizant in checking your hook point because it will roll. I've had them roll just setting the hook in the fish, and I get them in, and after I pull the hook, I'm like, why the hell's my hook point rolled?
Oh, dude.
I'm glad I landed it, but it happens.
One of my favorite hooks for a certain time of year or like application, like if I'm dragging or flipping a Senko or a beaver, I loved a ringed EWG. And I specifically love the Gamakatsu one. The only issue is they last like 3 fish and then they bend out. That is the only problem with them. So I literally went through freaking 3 packs today because I found some grass and I was flipping and catching some like smaller largemouth. Saw a freaking megalodon sitting in the grass, and there just happened to be a lane right by it. Through the glide, chop, chop, chop. Thing went crazy, sharked it all the way to the boat. That was when I texted you. I'm like, I think that I just had an 8-pounder.
Yeah, I'm sure like that lake has insanely big fish in it. Well,
how many lakes in New York do you think hold a state record largemouth?
Give me a second.
I'm going to go 4. I don't mind listing them off.
Possibly 7.
7, okay.
Possibly 7. One of them I'm not going to rattle off because I don't want to talk about. But
put it in the private chat. I'm curious.
So lakes that I'm going to name, one is the lake that you fished today. So I'm not going to name that lake either. So there's 2 lakes. I think Cayuga because everybody and their brother knows about it now. I think Seneca could possibly have it because it's like a big unknown. Then you have a couple of the smaller Finger Lakes to the east of Seneca that possibly could happen. I'm going to throw a sleeper lake in with Cross Lake because it's got alewives and it has giant largemouth in it, but it's treacherous to run. Then I'm going to add in Lake George, Lake Champlain,
Lake George too,
and then
5. I don't think Champlain.
But here's why I think Champlain. I think down in Thai area, there's a lot of less largemouth now, which means there's going to be opportunity for bigger ones to grow because there's not as much of a population, it seems. So therefore, there's going to be a shot. I don't think it could happen there, but I think a place like the St. Lawrence, where they're never targeted, could be a place that really pumps them out. Because historically, if you go back 20 years, it took like 22 to 25 pounds a tournament to win with largemouth. Like, there's giants there. And they're caught every summer, but people don't talk about it. Oh, no, they used to catch 20, 25-pound bags of largemouth a lot. Like, right before the smallmouth took off in, like, the early 2000s up there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on par with all those lakes. I'm going to disagree on the Champlain, but I like your point, though. Because Thai seems to be going downhill. Lake George, I think for sure has one. That is a great glide bait lake.
Yeah.
What I'm told anyway. Otisco, I'm gonna say Otisco's got one.
Yeah.
And then what was my other ones? No, you already named them all.
So I'm gonna throw a wild card out there for you too. If you go back and you can find the archives on it, I was doing research on Juanita and Lamoka. I think it's like 25 years ago now. Somewhere in Lamoka, they electroshocked a 14-pounder.
What?
Yeah, it's on the web internet through like DEC Electro Studies or whatever agency did it. But if I can find it, I'll send it to you. But they electroshocked a 14.
I'm looking this up.
Yeah. You're gonna have to dive deep. It took me. I remember finding it.
Records.
Yeah. And it was electroshocked up in Juanita Lamoka.
7 best yellow perch fishing lakes and bays in New York. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, First Grade doesn't have it. I'm logging off.
Yeah. So, but I do remember reading that somewhere on a website about electroshocking that lake to see what the population was. And if I remember correctly, there's like a little pond on Lamoka at the very south end of it. I can't remember the name of it, but that's where the fish was electroshocked.
Interesting. So how many boats are going to be in there next week?
Probably all of them that listen to the podcast, but they found it when they were studying for muskie. So it was in a muskie study that they found the big bass.
They're like, oh, this is pretty big for a bass. We should probably record this.
Yeah, pretty much. Because like if you go to Juanita Lamoka, it's an incredible muskie fishery in New York, but there's not a lot of muskie in Lamoka on the south end. They're all in Juanita in the north. And they're electroshocking Lamoka to try and find muskie, and they only found a couple. They were great giants, but there's not a bunch. Yeah. They're all in the north end of that lake, which is really bizarre to me too.
Well, in the sake of not name dropping any more lakes in New York, we have a lot of great ones. So we didn't really give anything up, but let's refrain from dropping more lakes just to protect them. But still in the same time.
That's why I only named the ones that people really know about. Yeah. And then I wanted to say that one about that study because I want to go and find it again and post it because that study was wicked.
That is wild. When you find out, we'll have to bring on Bart and do some
why
conservation talk. Well, here's a two-parter. If there is a state record largemouth caught, do you think it's going to crush the record or just barely beat it?
What is the state record now? 12-4?
I thought it was 11 something.
Might be 11-4.
Let's see. New York State largemouth bass record. 11-4. Caught in 1987. I'm trying to remember what lake it was.
Oh, it's like a little pond.
Yeah, I don't even think there's a freaking launch on it too, which has me like thinking, how is this even? John Higby, 11 pounds 4 ounces on a spinnerbait on Buckhorn Lake.
Oh, that's Adirondacks, I believe.
Yes, Buckhorn Lake. If there's not a launch on it, how is it public? Fishy, man, fishy. I call BS. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to call BS. That's a bold statement to make. Where is it? Uh-oh. Did I lose you?
No, I'm still here. Sorry. I'm trying to
For some
find
reason,
that.
no, I had another. Oh, Lordy.
He gone.
I had another window open with StreamYard, and it said all the screen said was something went wrong. And I'm like, oh, God, what the hell just happened to the stream? Yeah,
that's
no, we're good.
We are an unorganized mess tonight.
Yes.
As we're recording.
This is what happens when Andy and I have no agenda, but we film an episode because we want to.
Yeah.
And now we're rambling. But my question earlier was going to be, how long do you think it's going to take for Texas to pump out the new world record?
I don't know
if you think they will.
So the only way that you're going to pump out a world record in Texas is, one, it could happen because they have an incredible fisheries management team, and the rest of the country should take notice and follow suit. But they would have to make a new lake, and it would take about 20 years, probably 15 to 20 years. So if Texas continues to build new lakes,
Steve Barden's saying he's got like 8-pounders that are 3 years old.
Right, but it has to be sustainable. It needs to be big enough in order to sustain that, and it has to be public. Dude, there could be a world record bass somewhere on a private lake, but I don't know if it would count because technically it's a private stock pond. So I wonder how that would work.
I don't know. I think it would make a whole lot of media buzz.
It would.
That's about it.
But I don't know if
people would be at that door willing to pay inconceivable amounts of money to go fish it.
That's big facts. And then, like, say that, like, it pumps out its world record, right? And then Texas comes in and it's like, hey, we want to buy your property for $1.2 million and put a boat launch on it because we think that is going to bring a ton of money into the state. So let's make your lake public. And then somebody comes in and cracks a world record on a bed. Now it counts. So it's like, which I don't know. Have they made any like new big lakes in Texas at all recently? Because I know
I feel like there's a new one.
So that might be the lake that it could happen on. So, because I know they're always trying to find ways to make their fishery better, and that could be one way that they do it. So it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I want to say there is a new one that they just dropped. I want to say Barden was saying something about it, or at least, or maybe that there is one dropping, but I'm not sure. But what do you got coming up? Anything on the Full of Fishing channel? I know this is not going to be a long episode today, guys, but we wanted to at least just put something out there, even if it is Andy and I rambling. One thing I would like, and I will challenge the listeners and viewers to, is conversations or topics that you want us to dive into. Andy, Deacon, and I do a tedious and ever consistently, monitoring for topics and things that we want to talk about. We have a big list of shows that we want to get into, but if we also want your guys' viewpoint. So, like, if there's something you want us to dive in deeper or dive into that we have not talked about yet, slide in the DM, shoot us an email. We obviously would love to hear from you guys. But Andy, you got anything coming up on the Full of Fishing channel? Just probably a weekly report, Thursday or Friday. Right now, I haven't been fun fishing in forever, so I haven't been able to record. So I don't have any real fishing videos coming, but we do have some reports coming. I might start doing like some rod talks and etc. and talk about like setups and what you can fish and use them for, and maybe talk about while I'm on the boat. But we'll see. I mean, it's going to be a little quiet until about July, and then July, August, I'll be hopefully adding up some content so I can start pumping out a lot of videos coming up in the fall. So we'll see. We're going to keep scrounging by until then and keep trying to pump out content when we can, but need some cancellations multiple days in a row, and I really don't want that, so I can go largemouth fishing somewhere to make a video. But yeah.
Or people just say, "Hey Andy, let's go largemouth fishing." Largemouth trips.
Yeah. And I do have them July and August. So if you want to go catch some largemouth and learn how to power fish for largemouth, those are some trips we can offer and have some fun with. So, yeah.
Sweet. Well, I
was about to say, what do you have coming up? But I think you already told everyone what you have coming up.
So. Well, I got the trips coming up. But for the Beat the Fish YouTube channel, I have like 12 videos I need to edit. I think the next one's going to be a tournament video for next week. Hoping I have time to edit and pump that out for you guys this week.
Maybe.
Thank you to everybody that's gone and checked out that channel. It's grown pretty well right now, and I'm pretty humbled by it. It's a pretty cool deal. It's fun. It's fun sharing that content, but it's always like that weird mix of like I want to share this cool stuff, but I also don't want to share this cool stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't want to expose too much.
We are so weird as anglers in regards to how secretive we can be about things. Where it's like we're not selfish people, but it's more I want to say it's prideful in the fact that like you worked to figure something out and you want to protect it, if that makes sense. I don't know how you describe that, but
yeah, so like me being a guide and it's my full-time job, one, it hurts to put stuff out there to like show people how to do it, but also I'm hoping that people look at it and be like, oh, I need to go learn how to do this so I can see them doing it. I can't figure it out on my own, and like they want to book a guide trip. So I'm really like I'm more on the edge of putting it out there, because if it's something that you can't figure out, then I offer a guide trip to help you get it dialed in and figure it out. So that's where I'm at. I just, some of the lakes, I'm like, what can I put in this? What can I put in it? And try to play it kind of safe. And then I'm also on the point, like, everybody already knows everything. So when it comes to lakes and locations, why does it even matter? And people are going to find out anyways if I put it out there or somebody else does. So.
Yeah. Heard that, dude.
Yeah. It's a weird fine line that we play.
Yep. Well, Andy, you got anything else you want to talk about today?
At this moment, I do not, and I'm sure there will be more that comes up. Oh, I do want to say the Sabine River is an absolute smash fest. So I haven't had a chance to watch, but I've been hearing like how much fun it is, and it seems like I don't know if it's 3 or 4 of the top 10 are all fishing the same ship canal. So it'll be interesting how that turns out tomorrow. So
yeah, that will be interesting.
But it just seems like that place is chock full of like 8 to 13-inch fish.
Mm-hmm.
Woohoo!
I feel good about my Clark Windlet pick.
That's a great one.
Third, and Cox was doing great. He was in 12th yesterday. Drops to 36. But come on, John. The hell, bro.
That is the Sabine River at play. And then Matty Wong went from like 55th to 5th because he had like a 14-pound bag or something, right? So
what the hell, bro?
Yeah, Hackney went 40th to 17th today. Although I do want to shout out to our friend Wes Logan having a good derby, back on track. So good job. I shot him a text a little bit ago and I was like, heck of a job, dude. You deserve it. You've been working hard, and about time you have a good derby. So
about time.
About time.
Hit him where it hurts.
Yes. Build him up a little bit and then slap him down.
Great job. About freaking time. Just kidding.
No, we love Wes. He's a good dude. Maybe.
All right. Well, Andy, good chatting. It's going to be starting tomorrow, craziness. So I will be in touch with the folks on socials best as we can. We'll be as active as we can. But as always, folks, appreciate you guys. If you could, if you're listening, leave a rating and review. Helps us out big time. But appreciate you guys always tuning in. And we'll see you on the next.